supernatural can be a tricky thing to do in any genre, but in comic book form, it often seems to fall back on the obscure and nonsensical.
Yeah, it can be a bit tricky. I mean, I've noticed that there's not that many titles that do it that well.
No, which is strange, because we're more than happy to accept people flying through the air, men from Mars, but when it comes to ghosts and demons and the like, it can be a little hard to swallow.
Yeah.
So Night Force is a 7-part series written by Marv Wolfman.
Great name.
Fantastic name.
Yeah.
And illustrated by Tom Mandrake.
Which is another great name.
Yes, and it focuses on a group of people, the eponymous Night Force, who get together to fight supernatural baddies.
You know, it's interesting that this is a reimagining of a previous work, but is actually done by the same writer.
Yeah.
That actually put me on the back foot to start with. I kept thinking, why reimagine your own work?
Well, you know, maybe he came up with some new ideas that he wanted to try out, or didn't really trust anybody else with his characters.
Well, maybe, but all I can say is if this is the improved version, I would hate to see the original.
Yeah, okay, we get to rating at the end, remember. Okay. So, the first issue of Night Force introduces us to some of the characters. We've got Baron Winters, who is a shadowy, mysterious sorcerer who lives in a massive mansion with a cheetah, which is called Merlin, that he talks to.
Seriously, can we get to the part where I rip on this?
No. There's also Zoe Davis, a young woman with a shadowy, unknown past, and Jim Duffy, a policeman who's days away from retirement, who also has a shadowy past.
Are we getting the themes yet?
Yeah, they're not very subtle. It's basically painted on the walls.
Yeah.
We see Zoe being rescued by Jim Duffy. Then they're in the hospital, and then they're magically transported to the Baron's mansion, where they are menaced by FBI agents and actual shadows. Tom Mandrake really likes shadows.
Yeah, seriously, it got a bit ridiculous for me. Is there a single frame in this whole book where we actually see someone's whole face?
I don't think so.
No, it got a bit farcical. Every single time you see somebody, half their face is hidden by shadow, as if somehow that hints at some dark, unknowable secret.
Yeah, which it probably does.
Yeah.
The question is, are you going to be bothered to finish the series to find out what that is?
No. No,
So-
I'm not.
So, Al, I'm sensing that you didn't really like this comic.
Ah, well then you have more supernatural juice than this story did. Look, I found this very weak, and the cliche of it all, the cop that's a couple of days away from retirement, and the talking cheetah.
Yeah, no, wait, does the cheetah actually ever talk? I mean, the Baron talks to the cheetah, it says purr and growl, and he responds like it... I talk to my cat like that.
Which,
I mean,
again, is actually a bit more creepy than this story manages to be. Look, I'm not even going to waste any more time on this one. I'm sorry. This is a bury for me. I got very little out of it. The story was weak and plodding and not at all interesting. The characters were cutouts. Even the art, most of it was just shadows. So I have very little to get out of this one.
okay, well, look, there were a couple of panels that I did actually like. The Mandrake, they didn't have shadows in them, funnily enough, but Mandrake managed to make a little bit of movement out of it.
Yeah.
But having said that, I'm actually going to go a step further.
Ooh.
This is a burn for me. The story is meandering, the plot is nonsensical, the characters are cutouts, like you said. Don't even bother with this. It's about as creepy as a picnic with Bambi.
Actually, that would creep me out a lot.
It's only because you have a deer phobia.
You said you wouldn't tell anyone about that.
I lied. Look, if you want to be creeped out by a comic, go get Joe Hill's Lock and Key. It's a much better book than this.
It is.